Welcome back to this session of Xcode in the playground. We're going to be having a look at the comparison operator. Now, the comparison operator allows us to compare two different objects, like two different variables. We're also going to have a look at the assignment versus comparison. There's a difference between the assignment to a variable and the comparison of the variable. We're also going to have a look at the type of comparison operators and the Boolean conditional that they make. Before we go any further, let's talk about the comparison operator. Now, the comparison operator is indicated by two equal signs. Now, these comparison operators are standard across C-based languages, and they're used in lots of other languages like Python, Visual Basic, Pascal, Java, JavaScript. And the comparison operator is a fundamental of computer science that allows a computer to make a decision. So the different comparison operators are the two equal signs, which means is A equal to B. Not equal to is A not equal to B using the exclamation mark. You can have the greater than is A greater than B, or is A less than B. Now, when you're dealing with the greater than and less than sign, a good way to remember it is the crocodile eats the bigger one. So you can see our greater gator is 76 greater than 67, or is 67 less than 76. Now, we always read these from left to right. So when using the 67 and the 76, this comparison operator shows is 67 less than 76. Now, comparison operators always return a Boolean expression. So they're going to return a true or a false. So is 67 less than 76? The answer is true. We can also use the greater than and equal to. So is A greater than equal to B? So if they're both the same, it is true. And as long as A is greater than B, it will be true. And the same goes for less than. Is A less than or equal to B? So let's have a look at these in action. So let's start with new playground. The very first thing I'm going to do is remove the var declaration. So let's declare two variables. Let's go var new password is a string, and it's going to be equal to password. And then we're going to have a check password. So var password, and we're going to set that to a string as well. And we're going to see if they're the same. So we're going to also set this one to password. Now we can see with our own eyes that password for new password and check password are true. They're spelt the same. So let's get the computer to do a comparison. Let's see if new password is equal to check password. Now, what I've just used there is what's called an assignment operator. So when this program runs, and I'll set it to automatically run, and I'll make this a little bit wider, you'll notice it hasn't given us a condition. It's given us password. Because using the assignment operator, we're putting password, check password, inside a new password. If we use two equal signs, which is a comparison, you will see that the result now is true. So the computer now is looking at new password and seeing if the contents of new password is the same as the contents of the variable check password. Because they're the same, they're true. If I change this to new password, and we have the computer check, you can see that they're not the same, and the computer has resulted in a false. So therefore, this has done the comparison operand for us. All comparisons will result in a Boolean expression, true or false. This makes it very useful for loops, for conditional loops, like a while do loop, or a post-test loop, like a do until loop. And they're also very good for if then else and decision structures. So for the if then else, or the elif structure. So this is an example of equal to. Now we can also see if one is greater than the other. So let's create another variable. Let's go var num1 as an integer. And let's make that 10. And let's have a var num2 as an integer. And let's make that 5. Now we can do a comparison to see if they're equal to. So we can say, is num1 equal to num2? And it's false because 5 and 10 are not the same. I can also look and see if they're not equal to. And you notice now it's turned true because 5 and 10 are two different numbers. So this is not equal to. Now when you're doing not equal, it's important that you've got the exclamation mark first, then the equal sign. If you do it the other way around and put the equal and then the exclamation mark, you'll notice that it will result in an error. We can also check to see if num1 is greater than num2. Which results 2. 10 is greater than 2. Or we can see if num1 is less than num2. And it results in false. Now, if we make num1 and num2 the same, you can see that num1 now is no longer greater than num2. Because num1 and num2 are the same, therefore num1 is not greater than num2. They are equal to, therefore the result is false. So if you're going to find out if it's equal to or greater than, then you need to use the num1 is greater and equal to num2. And this time it results true. It does the greater and the equal check to see if they're the same or if one's greater than the other. The same way that the not equal, the exclamation mark must come first. Also, in a greater and equal to, the greater sign must be done before the equal sign. Now the last one of the set is num1 less than and equal to num2. And the result is true. Because 10 is equal to 10, this is also true because it meets the equal condition. So if we now change num1 to 5, you can see that they're not equal, true. Num1 is not greater than num2. Num1 is less than num2. Num1 is not greater or equal to num2. And num1 is less and equal to num2. So this is how we can use conditional operands to result a Boolean outcome. And we'll use these later on in our decisions and also in our conditional repetition loops. So in this lesson, we've looked at the comparison operator, the assignment versus comparison, the difference between using an equal sign for assignment and using a double equal sign for comparison. We've looked at the types of comparison operators and also the Boolean conditional that they create. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and also have a look around my YouTube channel for other useful Xcode tutorials.